What is going down, Sourdough Squad? I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you made it through the night and survived, and you are here with me this morning to talk about it all, get into it, dive into it, talk about the game last night, also talk about the some of the player interviews and exits that are getting ready to occur and happening right now. So it's just tough, man. I think I can speak for all of us. I think we can speak for all of us that this clearly was a loss that it was just a ride that we weren't ready to see end. It really did feel like the 49ers were on this special magical journey that was at a certain point just hard to quantify how they were able to get past the Green Bay Packers and get into the playoffs by beating the Rams and doing all that kind of stuff. So it really did feel like this 49ers team, we started to hear the word destiny thrown out quite a bit, especially leading up to this game. And again, the 49ers were there. They're one game away from the Super Bowl, one quarter away from the Super Bowl. Um, so there's a lot of ranges of emotions. There's a lot of different ways to feel about this. And I just want to preface as well as we start to talk about this, there's no wrong way to deal with a loss as a fan. I know there are some instances, it's not across the board, but there are some instances where people will tell you how to fan. That isn't going to be one of these spaces. This isn't going to be one of those places. You are welcome to deal with the loss however you deal with the loss. If you are next, what's next kind of guy, and you turn the page and you move on to the next, that's great. Other people aren't like that. There are other people that kind of will process the moment, sit in it, feel it, stew on it for a long time. And if you're a 49er fan and you've been a 49er fan, this isn't a new feeling. This really isn't a new feeling. We've been here before, whether it's the Super Bowl loss in 2019, whether it's NFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl 2012. The list goes on and on. The list goes on and on. Um, so if you have been rocking with this squad, I would assume maybe there's a little callus built up, just a little. Um, I'll speak personally about, some of the worst losses that I've ever experienced. I would say the 2012 Super Bowl loss, in my opinion, was the worst loss I've ever experienced in regards to pain, feeling it for days, weeks later, hell, even getting like little PTSD jolts of like thinking about it and then the emotion and feeling it in my gut. I mean, that 2012 Super Bowl, that one hurt. That one hurt me. But again, everyone goes through this journey at their own pace and their own time. So it it's a tough situation. So basically what I'm trying to say, man, is I don't fault any of you guys. If you're taking it really hard, I feel it. I get it. This was a special year. It was a special team. We had insanely high hopes. And as you know, I think what we're also kind of understanding, and especially if you've been in the Sourdough Squad, you've been rocking with me in these lives, we develop kind of as a community. We kind of went through this year really low lows, and then we came up on some really high highs and everything in between. And we all kind of experienced that together. And looking back at this year, I think that's one of the most special things that we've been able to be a part of is just to enjoy these moments together and to get to this point, to even be in the NFC Championship. So I'm trying my best to look at it a little bit glass half full type of situation, but I get it. It's no fun. Gabe says, love the squad no matter how bad it hurts to see this loss. Excited for the future. And we're going to be talking a lot about that today. We're going to be talking about future. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things. A whole bunch of different things going into this. And let's start with some of the updates, I guess. We'll start with some of the updates and then we'll work our way through through the loss, what's coming next, and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into some of the updates that have come out from today's pressers and other media. Obviously, I think one of the I'm sorry, Darian. We don't have time for you today. I understand Darian wants to victory lap, but this is a safe place. This is a safe place today. We are going to deal with our emotions openly and outwardly. And if anyone wants to come in and try to dunk on us, this isn't the spot for you. So I'll help you see your way out. Some of the news that we've heard today is that Jimmy Garoppolo will be having offseason surgery. It appears on the torn UCL on his thumb. So he is, and per Ian Rappaport, is headed towards offseason surgery. It's crystal clear. It is crystal clear that Jimmy Garoppolo will not be on the team next year. They have like that's what the Rappaport kind of report was about. And essentially posturing Jimmy Garoppolo to get another job next year, whether that's via trade or whatever. They talked about the timeline, about 4 to 6 week recovery time for the surgery on the UCL on the thumb. So then, per Rappaport, it does sound like teams are going to wait and see to kind of gauge where he's at before all that stuff goes down, before a trade happens. But when you talk to the players, when you hear from the players today, they all know um, that this run has come to an end. And Jimmy Garoppolo will play for another team in 2022. What team that is, we don't know. When will that happen? Probably a month or two, potentially. Like I said, it does sound like they are going to want to tie it together with the recovery from the injury for the UCL. So that's on its way. But like I said, so many things have come out um, to just really emphasize the fact that, that was very much likely the last time we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo in a 49ers jersey. So it's a bit of an ending of an era. Whether you liked the era or not, it's still an ending of an era. It's a new chapter is about to start. Obviously, we understand Trey Lance is sitting there in the wings to take over. This man. So there's been a lot of reports coming out. I wouldn't say this one's locked tight, but there are some sources talking about this. Per Adam Beasley, who I believe is works for Pro Football Network, there are increasing signs that 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel will be the next head coach of the Dolphins. So, like I said, this isn't locked tight. Things can change. I've even heard a report coming in about how Jim Harbaugh could be potentially getting the job with the Dolphins. So we're going to continue to monitor what's going on, but it does feel like the Dolphins could be a real landing spot for former run game coordinator, current offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel. And to echo kind of what Travis is saying here, if the 49ers lose Mike McDaniel, that's a huge loss. Really, really big loss. When you think of all the dynamic schemes that we've seen this year, especially in the run game, uh, that is what is going on. Yes, and we're gonna I see Dylan. Dylan, our goal here today is to have a peaceful chat. So I will do my best to mod out the trolls. I know the troll, I get it. All right. I get the trolls want to come in and dunk. I get it. I understand. And uh but I also I'm more cognizant of my chat and my community than I care about giving trolls a platform here. So we're gonna be weeding out the trolls today. Normally we let them hang around, um, but they start acting up. Let me know. We'll kick them. We'll kick them. Don't worry. Still trying to figure out the mod situation. Um, one step further towards getting that done. Would have been great yesterday, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Yes, no trolls today. Trolls tomorrow, maybe, just not today. Um, Paul, Paul's watching at 2 times speed to catch up. I love it. I love it. Yep. Just let me know. Again, what our rules are for if we want to get some people out of here. Just say ban dash their name so I can see both relations to each other, and then we'll move from there. Just wanted to get that out. But Mike McDaniel could be on his way out. So that is going to be some unfortunate news. Also, as we know, D'Amico Ryans, 49ers defensive coordinator, he is taking a second interview with the Minnesota Vikings. Could very well be the Vikings head coach. He has ties to their new general manager who actually spent some time in the 49ers organization. So we'll see what's going on with that. But the 49ers could be in a position where they lose both of their both offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. So that is tough. Also, losing the NFC Championship game really opens the door for that to happen. I think if the 49ers were able to get to the Super Bowl, that's essentially additional 2 weeks that teams would have to go through of filling positions. And the hope is in that situation is you make it to the Super Bowl, all the positions are filled before the Super Bowl's over, and then you're good. But that's not the case. So we're going to continue to monitor what's going on with the coaches. This man, Deebo Samuel, spoke today to the media. Obviously, Deebo went viral, after getting very emotional after the loss, being consoled by Odell Beckham Jr., all that kind of stuff. But Deebo Samuel, Dylan, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you on that one. It really hit me that when I woke up this morning. It really hit me when I woke up this morning. I think I was kind of numb to it last night. But when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? Oh, good stuff. But Deebo Samuel does confirm that he is headed to the Pro Bowl. So that will be a great experience for Deebo. Excited to see him at the Pro Bowl representing the 49ers. But obviously we would prefer other things, but that's okay. We know what the situation is. Good news about Alex Mack. Alex Mack made the Pro Bowl as an alternate. Very deserving of that. Very, very deserving of that. Trent Williams talked about Alex Mack today very highly. I believe what Trent Williams said. He said if the 49ers didn't have Alex Mack playing center, they wouldn't have made it this far. And I agree 100% with that. And as you guys know, I'm biased to the offensive line. I'm especially biased towards the center position because I played center. And so I kind of have a bit of an idea of what goes into being a center, what responsibilities you have, what you're keying on, how you have to transfer information to the rest of your offensive line, get your offensive line in the correct pass protection sets, whether that's, shifting to the right, shifting to the left, understanding a lot of defensive fronts. There's a lot that goes into being a center. So I'm pretty happy with Alex Mack this year, and like I said, uh, Trent Williams said we're not even in this spot if we don't have Alex Mack at center, and I agree with that. I agree 100% with that. Alex Mack has been a revelation this year for the offensive line. He's one of the reasons why the offensive line is a top 5 group in both pass and run blocking statistics. And it all starts with the center. I know the left tackle is the glory position. It gets all the highlights and the praise. But that center, man, is the quarterback of that front 5, and he was phenomenal this year. He did leave it open-ended. And I'll speak about this because I hear a lot of people coming after the run game. You have to remember there's a lot of scheme involved. The Rams, there's another team on the other side, and if they figure out a way to bring guys in certain gaps, bring guys with certain timing based on what you're trying to accomplish, it doesn't matter how good of an offensive line you have. If they're beating you to the spot that you need to be because they have an idea of where you're trying to go or what you're trying to do, it's hard to overcome that. So you have to tip your cap to the defense on the other side. They were prepared to stop the 49ers run game. And that isn't a direct indictment on the offensive line. It's more of an indictment on the scheme that the Rams portrayed. And both things can be true. The 49ers offensive line still had a decent game and played well under the circumstances. But you also, two things can be the same, that the Rams defense had the 49ers number from a scheme perspective, and they sold to stop the run. And when you have a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, who is a bit limited, because if you stack a box against Patrick Mahomes, well, you're just asking to get destroyed. That's not how our offense works. So we try to work through stacked boxes. We try to keep doing what we know how to do, regardless of what the defense is showing. So, you guys know I'm going to be quick to defend my offensive line. I don't think they played as poorly as everyone is assuming they did. But I still have to watch the tape and get into it, and I'll have a real answer for you on if they were an issue or not. But some of the other things, let me see here. So that's most of the updates that come to the top of my head from that we've received today. Everything else that we got from today, so like the 49ers had their exit interviews. That's what they're doing today. Today is going to be a big move out day, clearing lockers, saying your goodbyes. They're doing exit physicals, all that kind of stuff. So it's tough, man. It's tough. It's a tough day. It's tough when you really believe in your heart that you're going to have a victory Monday on the way to the Super Bowl, and in fact, it's the opposite. It's a little sad, but we understand. So I'm going to start going through some of the quotes from some of the players today. We'll talk about what they're talking about and what they're saying. I think one of the themes to start out from some of the defensive players was Ambry Thomas. Um, from Emmanuel Mosley, Jimmy Ward, and I think most importantly, Fred Warner, and how they talked about Ambry Thomas, because they talked about Ambry Thomas the same way I talked about Ambry Thomas from covering training camp. Because if you guys don't remember, or if you weren't with us when I was doing lives after training camp practices, we talked about Ambry Thomas. We talked about how bad Ambry Thomas was. Bad. We got insight from players about how bad Ambry Thomas was. I saw it with my own eyeballs. Like Ambry was 2 steps behind everything in training camp. It just looked really bad. And what happened though, Fred Warner talked about it today. He said, quote, Ambry Thomas's story is incredible. And Fred Warner basically went on to talk about those exact things. How bad he was in training camp to then be able to develop throughout the year in season and then ultimately be an impact player down the stretch. Fred Warner said this, quote, Ambry Thomas is one of the biggest reasons we made it to this point. And this is why I love football. Honestly, this for me personally, it hits me in the feels. It makes me feel good because I love player development. You'll hear players talk about this all the time, man. You'll hear about them say this all the time. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. There's no staying the same. You're either getting one day better or one day worse. And I believe that's true as well. And with Ambry Thomas in training camp, he was one of the worst players on the team. And that's not hyperbole. Like it is what it is. He wasn't good. But it's again important to remember, especially with rookies, especially with guys like Trey Lance, Aaron Banks, Trey Sermon, some of the rookies that didn't do what we would hoped for them to do. It doesn't mean they are busts. It just means they develop at a different level than maybe their expectation or where their draft slot would have them, right? So that's the biggest message with the rookies that haven't performed this year, is that just remember Ambry Thomas. Just remember Ambry. Just remember he was not it. He was not it in training camp, to the point where they probably damn near almost cut him. I really believe they had some strong conversations about cutting Ambry Thomas. The reason they didn't cut him, he's a 3rd round draft pick. That's why. Goodbye. But Kyle Shanahan's talked about it throughout the year. One of the biggest surprises of the year, Ambry Thomas. So I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from the 49ers speaking. Some of the players, like I said, Fred Warner had, I think, the most impactful things to say about Ambry Thomas, but so did Emmanuel Mosley. So did Jimmy Ward, and all that good stuff. So that is one of the silver linings from this year, because I would ask the chat. How confident are you going into next year with Ambry as a starter and Emmanuel Mosley as a starter? I feel pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I feel decent about it. I think the 49ers can add I think one of the biggest key elements of this offseason is getting depth at the defensive back position, whether it's safety, whether it's cornerback, nickelback, they need depth. They need depth. They need guys to help withstand the marathon. We can have guys that are good in spurts, but we need guys that can withstand a marathon. So, based on the chat, we got very good, very confident, good, full confident, need a better slot corner, which is probably going to be one of the moves that is heading our way. Adrian said both should be starters. Gabe says, yeah, I'd be pretty happy with that. So I think we would feel okay. At the very least, pretty good, right? Pretty good. If the 49ers return Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas as the starting cornerbacks, that's huge. That's huge. That's huge that we can talk about Ambry Thomas in that light. Because again, the maturation process from training camp till now, it's the fact that we're in agreements and we're vocalizing that we feel okay. Like if we go into next season with Ambry Thomas as a starter, because I think we can all again rationalize that Ambry Thomas is going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to develop and continue to elevate his game. So I think that's good news. I see people talking about Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett could be back just because I don't know who else is going to. I don't know what Jason's future holds. I thought it was cool to see him on the sidelines. You want the hat? I got you. Here you go. Residency.com. Use the promo code the SF9ers. There you go. That's where you get the hat. Got plenty of them too. What was I talking about? Squirrel. Oh, Verrett. Verrett could be back just for the likelihood he didn't sign anywhere last year after having a great year, returned on a $5.5 million 1-year deal, and then got hurt again, ACL. We know Jason Verrett has missed more games than he's played. So I don't know if another team would take a chance on him other than the 49ers. So there could be an opportunity for Verrett to be back. But again, Verrett then becomes D Ford in a sense. And like we talked about D Ford heading into this year, we talked about D Ford, like anything we get from D Ford, if we get one snap from D Ford, that's better than what we would have anticipated. Because I think we, or at least me specifically, heading into this training camp, I thought D Ford was going to retire. I thought he was going to retire. Just like, kind of Weston Richburg did. I thought D Ford was going to retire. But hey, he got healthy for training camp and he was able to reemerge in training camp. But unfortunately, as quickly as he reemerged, he got re-injured. And, that's going to be another tricky situation because from my understanding, the 49ers would actually owe D Ford more money this year if they were to release him than they were to keep him. So to me, kind of feels like D Ford will be back. Could see a similar situation with Verrett. But like both of those two, if both of those two are coming back, you kind of have to treat them as they're invisible and do not exist and build out your roster as if they don't exist. And you're going to get any production from them because they're such volatile players in the sense of injury. You have to have reinforcements. You have to. I see people talking about Sosa. I think one of the coolest things from what Nick Bosa said today, I'll read a quote from Nick Bosa. specifically about Samson. Nick Bosa today said Samson Ebukam could be a top edge guy in this league for sure. Quote. Basically, what Nick was saying was that it took some time for Samson to acclimate to Chris Corsek's scheme. And he said this. He said the same thing about himself. He said, when I was a rookie and I came in, it took me a while to get Chris Corsek's scheme down. But once you start to get it and you fit in and know your role and know what you're trying to accomplish, it made it a lot easier. And I think we started to see Samson kind of, take those steps forward. And Samson is going to be under contract next year. He has one of those contracts it's an elevator. So like this year's cap hit was pretty low, but I believe it jumps up pretty substantially next year. But at this current point, there's absolutely a place for him. So it is good to hear guys like Nick Bosa propping guys up like Samson up for the good year that he did have. So that was some of the things to come out today. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, actually, let's talk about this first. Let's stay on Bosa. I think Bosa made it like pretty crystal clear that he wasn't in the best shape of his life. Like he has spent so much time focusing on the rehab portion of coming back from the ACL that it doesn't necessarily translate into being able to just attack, getting your body ready for a season, because what you're focusing on is you're focusing on a very specific body part and building that strength back slowly. But you can also take hits in other places because you're so focused on your rehab. Basically, what Nick Bosa was talking about was, he said, quote, I am really excited to have a full offseason to build on what I got to last year. And he basically just went on to say those same things. He wasn't able to maximize his strength or conditioning because he was constantly rehabbing. So what you're hearing from is a guy that had 15 and a half sacks coming off an ACL injury. He's like, I wasn't in the best strength. I wasn't in the best conditioning. I could be so much further than what I was this year. And the dude had 15 and a half sacks. The dude had 15 and a half sacks, could have had more. Most double team defensive linemen in the NFL, most held offensive linemen in the NFL. Unbelievable. I might have to do a cut up this year. I might have to do just one long cut up of Nick Bosa getting held. That's it. It'll just be play after play after play after play of Nick Bosa getting held. Then we'll maybe like tag and spam NFL officiating and use our powers to just annoy the hell out of them until they have to address it. Might be it. Might be it. But Nick Bosa did go on to say, quote, I'm going to be back in the best shape of my life. So Nick Bosa's ready. He feels good. Feels great coming back from the ACL, but he does see a path forward for getting better and getting into more shape. So I think that's exciting to hear from 49ers. Whatever. But I did think it was interesting today. No Jimmy Garoppolo. So as we know, today were the exit interviews. So a lot of free agents spoke today. DJ Jones spoke today. Laken Tomlinson spoke today. It wasn't just guys that are under contract. I talked to a lot of different guys today. Talked to Trey Lance today. They didn't talk to Jimmy Garoppolo today. And I think, hold on. Hold on one second. I have to get ready for this part. I think it's just a step towards, again, him being out the door and him moving on from the franchise. Again, before the interviews occurred, what did we hear? We heard Rap Sheet, clearly, Rap Sheet and Jimmy Garoppolo's representation are like this. They're like this. And shout out Tinfoil Hat season. It's back, baby. It's officially back. Oh, it's officially back, baby. You know the vibes. Tinfoil Hat season is absolutely upon us. And we already got it first day. Already got it first day. Of course, we'll shout out day one, Chase. Mark's new here. He doesn't know what's going on. So if you guys, we have a lot of new subscribers, man. We gotta sourdough foil, boys. That's hilarious, Josh. If you are new to the channel, as you know, last year, with all the rumors of trading for Deshaun Watson, Sam Darnold, any available potential quarterback available out there, or trading to get the draft pick, get the number 3 over pick. Then who's it going to be? It was Mac Jones at 3. This is the tinfoil hat. We needed it. It saved us. It saved us from Mac Jones at 3. When they came out with that Mac Jones at 3, I came on a live and said that is BS. Like literally. And I had the tinfoil hat, and they came out. They're like, "Oh, Mac Jones at 3," and I was like, "Mac Jones at 3? You're high out of your damn mind if you think it's Mac Jones at 3." And that's where that all started. So the tinfoil hat, man. Day ones know about the tinfoil hat, man. And it's tinfoil hat season. I got the logo on it. It's really hard to see. This thing's been through a lot. It's been through a lot. But it is tinfoil hat time, and we got some of it today. Again, when you start to see, especially about injury, when you have a national reporter who's feeding injury reports like the way Ian Rappaport is, you know where that's coming from. It's not coming from the team. It's not coming from Kyle Shanahan. It's not coming from John Lynch. It's coming from Jimmy Garoppolo and his agent, because they have a very large interest in getting Jimmy Garoppolo his next contract. And so the injury narrative is going to be a huge. Well, he had the sprained shoulder. He had the UCL tear in his thumb. So that's why Rap Sheet's coming out talking about that today. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that we didn't see Jimmy Garoppolo today. I don't think that it's normal, but I also understand. And that, again, is just another indication that Jimmy Garoppolo probably won't be on this team next year. So, if he was, maybe he would have spoke. But the fact that we didn't get Jimmy Garoppolo at the podium today, with an exit interview, especially understanding that it was probably his last time being a member of the 49ers, I feel like that says something. So it is what it is. I think we're all pretty crystal clear that Jimmy Garoppolo is moving on to the next stage of his tenure. Moving past it, I guess you would say. So, him not speaking to the media, Hey, let's keep it 100 on Jimmy Garoppolo's side. Why would Jimmy Garoppolo want to speak to the media? Like to be perfectly honest, putting yourself in Jimmy Garoppolo's shoes, knowing that your time is done, um, you know, done with uh the 49ers. Um, why would he speak to the media? The media's the media is probably the number one cause of his stress this year. So Jimmy just straight up said, "F you, media. I'm not talking to you." So again, tinfoil hat on. Uh, Jimmy's getting ready for his next stage of his career, and rightfully so. So, and another one. I got an itchy trigger finger today, folks. I got an itchy trigger finger today. So feel free. If you wanna troll, go for it. You're not gonna be trolling for very long. We got an itchy trigger finger today. Um, but obviously that means that the door is open for Trey Lance. Um, do we play Detroit next year? Oh, not that one. Uh, do we play Detroit next year? Don, I don't remember if you guys are on the schedule or not. I don't remember. Dang, that is not Don Burr either. Jeez. There we go. There we go, Don. I don't think we do. I kind of wish we did. No on jeez, man. I can't even click on the dang comments before 40 million come in. Jeez. No on Detroit. I would have loved that. I would have loved that just for Don Burr alone. But a big theme of today's press conferences were Trey Lance. I would imagine that every player today was asked for the most part about Trey Lance. Defense, offense didn't matter. What do you think about Trey Lance? What do you think about his development? All that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of what we've heard, right? It's a lot of the same things that we've heard. You know, Trey Lance has been quietly developing behind the scenes. I believe Lincoln Tomlinson called him a sponge. Um, basically just soaking up everything. Um, and all that good stuff. Obviously, we heard from Trey Lance today. Trey Lance had nothing but nice things. Uh, nothing but nice things uh, to say about Jimmy Garoppolo. He even called Jimmy Garoppolo's best friend. That's so sweet. He basically said like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be one of my best friends for a long time. Trey Lance talked about how he learned so much from sitting behind Jimmy, watching, being a part of that situation too. You know, Trey Lance referenced it. He said, and I was a part of that. I was a part of it where the media like pitted them against each other. I developed in my own head, probably because I had a tinfoil hat on my head for about 7 months leading up to training camp, that I just believed that there was a quarterback competition. I was like, there's no way, there's no way you draft a number 3 overall pick and not have a real competition. Like maybe if like Jimmy wins, then you put him in that kind of developmental role. But I was like, there's no way. There's no way it's not an open competition. Well, guess what? It was never an open competition. If it was, I actually think Trey could have won. But it wasn't. It wasn't an open competition. Trent Williams talked about how the plan was to draft Trey. They drafted him at 20. He turned 21 after the draft. And, not putting the weight of the world on a young kid who barely is able to buy alcoholic beverage or cigarettes. and that the plan was to kind of come in, let him develop, take his time, um, clearly learn behind Jimmy. Hey, the one thing I will say is he probably did learn a lot from Jimmy, specifically about dealing with adversity. Um, I think that is one of the biggest things that you can take away from Trey only playing in 2.5 games last year is that although, 2.5 games from an experience standpoint, starting week 5 and then starting week 17, that's a big gap. But there was a lot to learn, especially watching the media, watching the fan base, watching the ups, the downs, how to handle it when you're a pro. I understand that a lot of people are ready for Jimmy to move on. They're ready to move on to Trey, as am I. But you have to give Jimmy Garoppolo the credit that he's deserved. And the credit that Jimmy Garoppolo deserves is that he deserves he deserves the recognition for how he handled this situation with Trey, with potentially, like, I fully believe in my heart. I believe in my heart that if Deshaun Watson didn't get into legal trouble, Deshaun Watson would have been our quarterback. That's what I believe. I believe, based on information that I've heard from multiple credible sources in real time of the situation when the Stafford information went down, shout out Javi. When we were in the Senior Bowl, we found all of that out before anyone else. Before anyone was talking about 49ers and Stafford, Javi hits me saying, bro, this is who I talked to. This is what I'm hearing. I hit my guy. My guy's like, oh, yeah, it's not just Stafford. It's Deshaun Watson, too. And we're just like, what? We heard all that. We were ground floor on all that. And then that week, all the Stafford noise picked up. All the crazy Stafford stuff happened right after the Senior Bowl. Stafford gets traded. Kyle was absolutely in on Stafford. Absolutely in on Stafford. But I guarantee you, if Deshaun Watson doesn't get in that trouble, the 49ers would have Deshaun Watson at quarterback right now. That's the craziest thing. That is the craziest thing. Dude, I love Money Mark, and I love that his name is Money Mark because this man's be literally showering your boy, and I appreciate it so much, Money, especially today. Especially today out of all days. But thank you so much, man. Dropping the 50 piece on your boy. I really do appreciate that, man. I really, really do. You've always been good to me, always been good to the channel, Money. You're OG Sourdough Squad member. We appreciate you, man. Really, really do. Money Mark says, despite all the criticism, I think Jimmy G's time with us has been a success. A Super Bowl appearance and an NFC championship in 4 seasons is not too shabby. Say what you want, but we were god awful before he got here. Just facts. Sourdough Squad. Let's go, Money. Let's go, Money. And I think you're right. I think you're right. I know, hindsight being what it is and all that good stuff, and the pain that we're feeling right now, some people might not feel like that. But understanding true context, understanding that the 49ers were literally 0-9 in 2017 before Jimmy Garoppolo showed up, and then proceeded to rattle off 5 wins in a row after being on the roster for 2 weeks. I would, if we're going to, do the revisionist history thing and take a step back, I would say the biggest flaw of Jimmy Garoppolo's projection was paying him the contract. I think the contract was the biggest mistake, and that was a mistake from the 49ers, more so than it was Jimmy Garoppolo, because what did that do? We understand that, especially amongst fans, perception reigns supreme, sometimes more so than facts, more so than context. Sometimes it's the perception, the narrative, the storyline. And when the narrative and the storyline is Jimmy Garoppolo becomes the highest paid quarterback after 5 games, that's where the narrative and the perception of Jimmy Garoppolo shifted. For me, it didn't, because I knew what Jimmy Garoppolo, he had only played, I think, 7 games total, 2 including the Patriots, when he got that contract. Now, in a lot of fans' minds, when you see the dollar amount, you see highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Fans, I've seen it with not just our quarterback. I've seen it with Derek Carr. I've seen it with countless quarterbacks who have been paid high. It changes the perception and expectation. All of a sudden, a guy who had a magical end, 5 wins to end the season, after he just got traded, goes from being like this really cool story to like, oh, we paid him how much? He's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Oh, well, then he better perform that way. He better do that. He better show up in 2018 and look like the best quarterback in the NFL. And that's right there where the perception of Jimmy completely changed. Hindsight being what it is, I would have franchised him. Franchise him, give him 1 year at that number to get more of a sample size, see how he moved through 2018, and then give him the contract. But I understand why they gave him the contract. They gave him the contract because they had so much freaking cap space that they literally didn't know what to do with it. And they could front load his contract. And then the hope was that he would have been a top tier quarterback at this stage in his career. And they could have signed a lot of other players because, as we understand, Jimmy's cap hit right now is in the middle compared to all quarterbacks. So that was the plan. And they kind of followed it. The only problem was Jimmy got hurt in 2018. And then we never really saw that 2017 Jimmy consistently a lot. And that's where the narrative changed. That's where the fan base split. Oh, shouldn't have paid that guy after 5 games. He's overrated. Then you have the other side. Well, did you see what he did in those 5 games? What we had before that? He deserved, so that's where everything started to split. But to bring it back to what Money Mark is saying, it's true. We were god awful before Jimmy Garoppolo got here. And Jimmy Garoppolo led us. We almost had a Super Bowl. Don't need to remind you of that. And we were on the brink of heading to another one with Jimmy Garoppolo. So say what you want about the production, the on-field decision-making, whatever. Like, it is what it is at this point. But he did change some of our fortunes because, hey, you guys remember Mullins? You guys remember Beathard? There's something to what Jimmy provides to this locker room that they respond to. And those are the things that you can't quantify, like with stats or box scores. Cookie says, if Lance is a bust, will we miss Jimmy? I think there's always going to be a segment of 49er fans who will miss Jimmy. I think there are a lot of fans that are bonded to Jimmy through personal pride and wars they've waged on Twitter or social media. I think there's always going to be people who are going to be bonded to Jimmy and root for him wherever he goes. If Trey is a bust, though, I don't know if it will make this fan base miss Jimmy. Other than those, those couple people or a handful of people, because I think I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for myself. But, Jimmy is a stressful watch. Um, is he capable of winning games? Does he have an elite level quick release? Um, does he have strong mechanical tools as a thrower? Does he have good pocket awareness at times? Yeah, like you can go down the list and traits of what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And again, one of the biggest, clearly his biggest attribute is being a leader. And I think we kind of forget that the quarterback is the leader of the team. And so it's an important trait to have specifically in that position. And I think in Jimmy Garoppolo's case, you're seeing a situation where his leadership was better than his actual on-field production. In the overall grand scheme of things. So I don't know if we're gonna miss Jimmy. Um, I think the question is, are we gonna miss Justin Fields? Are we gonna miss what's his name? Mayo Mac? Like, should they have drafted someone else? Should they have stayed at 12? Like, and not traded up and just waited instead of giving all these first round picks? I think that's the conversation you're having, not necessarily like, we miss Jimmy. I think it's did we make the right decision with Trey? I think that's the question that will be asked. I think, whether you're the strongest Jimmy supporter or you're the opposite side of that, I think you can understand the chapter being turned and the page being turned to the next quarterback. And so the question then becomes, do we miss Jimmy? It becomes, did we pick the right guy? Did we make the right decision trading multiple first round picks to move up to number 3 and take Trey Lance over Justin Fields, over Mayo Mac, versus just sitting put at 12, not overpaying ahead of time, and then just making a move based on where it fit? Those, I think, are the conversations that will be had. Uh, not Trey versus Jimmy. I think that boat has sailed. Clearly, with Jimmy moving on, now the conversation that the fan base is going to focus on is he a bust? We've already seen it. We've already seen that out there in the Twitter's verse. So that's what he's up against now. That is what he's up against. So we will see. I think Trey Lance has so this is where I think Trey and Jimmy are like polar opposites of being right here, right now in their careers. What makes Jimmy Garoppolo so special? His leadership. It's hard. And, we look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He got to sit behind Tom Brady. He got to see one of the ultimate leaders from the quarterback position who demands greatness from everyone. What that means, Jimmy got to see what worked from Tom Brady, what didn't work from Tom Brady, what worked for him personally, because I don't think Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo have a good relationship. So there's plenty that Jimmy learned from sitting behind Tom Brady, and the type of leadership that comes with that seasoning and experience. You just can't You just can't have that in a young kid who's 20 years old. Like, that's, I think, the biggest discrepancy. And when going back to my tinfoil hat days of training camp, when I thought there was a competition because I'm watching Trey Lance make every throw, make insane plays, defense couldn't stop him running the football. I'm just like, how is this guy not the starter? And I think what it comes down to, honestly, is the leadership intangible, the small nuances that we don't see Monday through Saturday. I think that's the ultimate difference, not the actual, not the actual talent or tools. So now it's going to be interesting to see, well, what does this team look like under the leadership of Trey? So we'll see. Brad, how much time does Trey get before he's determined a bust or not? What does Trey need to do to be considered not a bust? I think it's a good question. Honestly, if it depends on who you're asking, to be honest. I think it's a good question, but I think it is really dependent on who you're asking. If you're asking a football mind, someone who's played the game, someone who studies the game, someone who understands the small nuances of technique, understands what development is, they're gonna have a rapidly different answer than someone who doesn't have those things. Um, and so for me personally, he gets a couple year leash, like at least 2 to 3 years. You know, at the very minimum, 2 years. Because again, perfect example. Look at Ambry. Look at what Ambry did in just one full year. Now, it's a little different when you're the quarterback. It's a little different when you're the leader of the team. It's a little bit different when the offense is solely relying on you and you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. For me, I'm going to give the guy 2 years because I understand how development works. There's peaks, there's valleys in development. And what development is ensuring that anytime you hit a peak and then you hit a valley, that you know how to navigate it and get out of it. I think that's the hardest thing for young players to work through. So for me, it's an easy 2-year development window. For your average 49er fan that's not ingesting 49ers podcasts, not in it like we are, you could damn near say one game. Like if you don't have that sense, if you don't understand how football works and you want instant results, you're a fan that only expects results and you don't enjoy the process, then you're going to call him a bust right away. If he throws a bad pick, if he does something, makes some bad decisions, looks a little skittish, maybe does it for a 2-3 game stretch, there's going to be people that come out and be like, "Oh, he's a bust. He's trash. He's garbage. He's a bust." But that's not how football works. And so if you have that baseline understanding of what development is, how it works, how you process the game, then you understand the leash that's involved. You understand what goes into this. So, yeah, I feel pretty confident. I mean, Trey Lance under the wildest of circumstances almost beat the Arizona Cardinals by himself week 5. He did beat the Houston Texans week 17. So I think he's got time. I think he's got time. And I think if you're quick to call him a bust, again, one of the things that I've learned this year is just you have to be patient. We talk about it in the season, about it being a marathon and not a sprint. Well, the same goes for player development in a lot of cases. Not every player develops like some of these guys, like a Jamar Chase. Not everyone's Jamar Chase. Not everyone's going to be a first team all pro as a rookie. That's rare. It's not it's not the it's not the baseline. Like they far exceeded that. Um so we're going to see. We're going to see with guys like Trey Sermon. We're going to see with guys like Aaron Banks. We're going to see with guys like Diamador Lenore. You know, did all those guys play great? Did Aaron Donald or not Aaron Donald, Aaron Banks do a ton this year as a second round pick? Did Trey Sermon do a bunch this year as, being a player that was traded into the third round for? Diamador's a fifth round pick, so he has a little bit more of a leash. But same thing goes for those guys. Got to give them time, got to give them an opportunity to develop before we understand what they really, really are. I think one of the biggest things, though, is what's going to go on with this offensive line. I think this offensive line has the potential to look a whole lot different this year. And that, for me, personally scares me. I don't like Alex Mack, not giving a definitive answer on his return. I know he's in year 13, but just like Trent Williams said, the 49ers don't have Alex Mack. They're not in this position to even be playing in the NFC Championship. So that makes me nervous. Clearly, he's older. He's getting to that, part of his career. And so I'm a little bit nervous. He didn't commit that he will be back next year. He said that when he hit year 10, he was going to treat it, year by year and just see how he's feeling, see how the body's feeling, see if he's ready to come back, do all. So we don't know officially if Alex Mack will be back. That makes me kind of nervous. Laken Tomlinson is a free agent. Trent Williams had a lot to say about Laken Tomlinson and about how important he was to returning. Trent Williams said he definitely wants Laken Tomlinson to return next year. And again, like I said, he just spoke to the importance of Laken Tomlinson. But I'm not going to lie, like him really going out on a limb like that, I don't know if that is actually happening. You know what I mean? Like he was very adamant about saying things in I think a very certain way about Laken Tomlinson and his importance that almost felt like a message, if you know what I mean. Like clearly the people who are in charge of deciding who returns and who doesn't, it's other people in offices. So it kind of felt like a message to maybe they're his own front office, because as we know, 49ers front office isn't going to break the bank for everyone. They pick and choose when they decide to reward players. Jimmy Ward has famously said multiple times, like, these guys need to learn how to come correct, because, based on my personal understanding and being in a little bit being a part of some of that, in my experiences, yes, I've seen that. I've seen the 49ers like lowball very, very important players on the team. I'm not going to say that, but like I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've experienced like firsthand accounts of, having a relationship with a player, his family members, his friends, and like kind of being in the middle of that with all of them and kind of following along with it. 49ers front office, man, they don't come correct all the time. They don't. And who that starts with, a lot of people talk about Parag. But this is also coming up. Deebo Samuel, it needs to get paid. He needs to get a lot of money. Nick Bosa is going to be up for a contract extension here. So there's a lot of free agents. I mean, and again, this started with talking about the offensive line, but Daniel Brunskill will be a free agent. For what it's worth, Trent Williams didn't say a word about Daniel Brunskill. I mean, I know Trent plays next to Lakin, and it's clear to see that Lakin and Trent have a very special relationship. But it is, Brunskill's going to be a free agent. I don't know what's going to happen with Brunny. Mike McGlinchey is on his 5th-year option. So he will be a free agent, I believe, at the other end of this year. So this offensive line could, if Alex Mack decides to retire, please, I hope he doesn't. This offensive line could look so different. So it could, we could literally have a new left guard, center, and right guard potentially going into next year. And that terrifies me because as a former offensive lineman, continuity is so important, especially for the guys on the interior because they work in tandem so much. But there's going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be a lot of changes coming. And, admittedly, just as my personal assessment, watching Lakin speak, like Lakin Tomlinson was, in my opinion, based on the way I evaluate, was the most emotionally distraught out of the group. And then again, you take what Trent said and how adamant Trent was about, it almost sounded like he was giving a message to someone to reiterate the importance of Lakin Tomlinson. And then Lakin comes on, and Lakin was, out of everyone, he looked the most emotionally distraught. So I don't know. Again, tinfoil hat. So we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. Offensive line could look dramatically different, which is going to be a little bit crazy. We talked about Jason Verrett a little bit. We talked about Jason Verrett a little bit. And I got you, Dylan. I got you. It's one of those things where I don't know if he will get a job. I don't know if he'll get a job anywhere else. So there might be a pathway back to sign Verrett on a cheap 1-year deal. But I don't know. Well, we talked about it earlier, kind of the sense, just like with D Ford, you have to prepare and build your roster like he's not there, even if you do re-sign him, because you just don't know. You just don't know. Yeah. A lot of fans don't want to deal with the injury anymore. Where are we going with Raheem? You think anyone else is signing him because of his injuries the past few seasons? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's clear as hell how much of a role that the 49ers had built into this offense for Raheem. Clearly, Deebo Samuel had to take it over and be that 1-2 punch with Elijah Mitchell. But it's just, it's a weird situation because I think he wants to get paid, and I think the 49ers are notoriously and also specifically with Raheem Mostert, um, I don't know. From a pure player standpoint, like, without looking into the, like, politics of roster construction, I would love to have Raheem back. I think Raheem is I think Raheem is a fantastic player. I think, I was one of the only people who didn't wanna trade Raheem Mostert when the 49ers drafted 2 running backs. Um, I was very adamant about how good Raheem Mostert was, and I think a lot of 49er fans took Raheem Mostert for granted, and when they didn't have Raheem Mostert, then it was pretty damn apparent how quickly everyone realized, "Oh, Raheem Mostert is really important, and he does run at an extremely elite level." Like, "Oh, maybe we did just take him for granted," but, it happens. Um, so I think from a player standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, I think Raheem Mostert's one of the top leaders on the team. Again, why he was a captain this year. Uh, but does that mean he will be back? That is again, that's a contractual question. I'm not in the front office. I'm not Parag Marate. So I don't know. I don't know. I would welcome him back. I would absolutely welcome him back. I just don't know. I don't know. It comes down to money. And, it's just not something that I'm, qualified to honestly really talk about. So we'll see, man. I would love this. I would love this. If we get him on just on a 1 year deal, maybe maybe another 2.5 mil. Because I think that's pretty much what he was playing on. He was playing on a special teams contract. He was playing on they signed him to be a special teamer, and he ended up becoming RB1, and that's what he was playing on. And if you guys remember, they went through that little like trade request thing just because the 49ers wouldn't fully guarantee his contract. Um, not to like add to it, just he just wanted it fully guaranteed. Um, and that was difficult. So, I don't know. It's a front office decision. It's a front office conversation. Um, all that good, all that stuff. Um, Silent Spider Gaming said, "So tired of saying next year for 13 years now." I mean, to like, I get it. Yeah, it sucks that the 49ers, just haven't been able to pull it out over the last decade, but it could be so much worse. Like we could be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just be thanking your lucky stars. We're not the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, or we're not the Houston Texans, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it hurts and I know it sucks, but this team and this franchise is and can get back to the Super Bowl. They were very, very close to doing so. Um, but it could be so much worse. It could be so much worse. Yeah. Trent Baalke could still be here. Trent Baalke could be our general manager. If Trent Baalke was our general manager, then my tone, my emotions would be in a much different place. If I didn't have Kyle Shanahan leading, kind of this situation, with Adam Peters in the building, John Lynch, there were some rumors that came out about John Lynch today, potentially going back to TV. Um, well, I haven't seen anyone else report it. And it came from someone's podcast. I forget exactly whose podcast it was off the top of my head. Oh, who was it? Oh, interesting. We've had some team awards announced. So 49ers have given Deebo Samuel the Len Eschmont Award. The Len Eschmont Award is voted on by the players and is given to the 49ers who best exemplifies inspirational and courageous play. So that is what Deebo Samuel won. So just a reminder, they just gave out team awards, and I am walking through it right now. Bill Walsh Bill Walsh Award goes to Nick Bosa. The Bill Walsh Award was established in 2004 in honor of San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame head coach. The award, which is voted on by the coaching staff, is given to the 49er who best represented the standard of professional excellence established by Walsh. I like that. So that's a coach award. So essentially 49ers coaches have awarded Nick Bosa as the best player who represents the standard of professionalism and excellence. That's nice. The Bob McKittrick Award goes to offensive lineman Laken Tomlinson. The Bob McKittrick Award is given annually to the 49ers offensive lineman who represents the courage, intensity, and sacrifice displayed by longtime offensive line coach. This is voted on by the offensive line. So that's interesting. James said Laken Tomlinson over Trent Williams. This was voted on by the offensive line too. So this specific award, again, the one before that Bosa got was head coach or by the coaches. The one that Deebo got was by the players. This one that Laken Tomlinson won, only the offensive line. Again, are they sending a message? Sign our boy Laken. What's this one? I think I might like this one. This one is the Hazleton Ironman Award. That one has been given to Aziz Al-Shair. The Hazleton Ironman Award is named for former linebacker Matt Hazleton, a 13-year performer who played more seasons at linebacker than any other 49ers player. Known for his durability and dedication, Hazleton passed away in 1987 from ALS, and Bill Walsh established the award in his honor that year. The award is given annually to the most courageous and inspirational defensive player, as voted upon by the defensive coaches. Wow. That's something. Again, Fred, same question. Aziz over Warner? Warner's been that dude. Warner has been that dude. So that's interesting. Aziz Al-Shair, and that's voted on by defensive coaches. So defensive coaches name that award, and that goes to Aziz Al-Shair. Aziz Al-Shair is a restricted free agent. So that means a team can sign him or give him a contract. Then the 49ers have an opportunity to match the contract. So will be very interesting to see Aziz Al-Shair and what happens with him. The 49ers have every opportunity to retain him, but they can let him roll. So we'll see what happens there. I see people talking about the residency hat. We got a promo code. If they're too pricey for you. Quickly too, if you are interested in the hat and they are a little too pricey for you, if you go to residency.com, let me get this one. I got it scrolling on the bottom. If you use the SF9er mission promo code on on this. If you use the this particular promo code that's going across the screen right now, SF9er Mission, that will get you 25% off the red cap. This is what Trent Williams was wearing today. So a little more off for you guys. You said to hit you up after the season to work. Oh, I got you. Yeah, give me some time, Gammon. Give me some time, man. It's day one. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing the rest of the year. I got to get my off season schedule aligned. All right, so more awards. The Thomas Heron Memorial Award was given to wide receiver Juwan Jennings. The Thomas Heron Memorial Award was established in 2005 by 49ers owners Denise and John York and presented to a rookie or first-year player who best represents the dream of Thomas Heron. I'm probably destroying his name. I apologize. The recipient has taken advantage of every opportunity, turned it into a positive situation, and made their dream into a reality. The award is voted on by the coaches. I like that. I like that Juwan Jennings got that award that represents taking advantage of every opportunity and turning it into a positive situation and made their dream a reality, because Juwan Jennings was a former 7th round draft pick out of Tennessee last year. Really didn't get an opportunity to play in 2020 because he had a severe hamstring injury. So we didn't see Juwan in 2020 at all. And so this was really Juwan's, quote, rookie year. He's been great, man. He has been great, especially here, especially in this category. Blocking, fire. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I like that. Quick hat question. This is Velcro. You can see the Velcro, but they also do have one snapback option. This is called the Presidio. It's actually a new drop. They just dropped this snapback. I believe it's the only snapback that they have. So they do have a snapback option. Okay, back to team awards. Apologies. Okay, next award goes to is the Ed Block Courage Award that was given to cornerback Dante Johnson. The Ed Block Courage Award is named after Ed Block, the former head athletic trainer of the Baltimore Colts for 23 years. Block was a pioneer in his profession and a respected humanitarian whose most passionate cause was helping children of abuse. The award is represented in his name each year to the player that exemplified commitment to sportsmanship and courage. Ed Block Courage Award winners from each of the 32 NFL teams are honored at a banquet in Baltimore. All proceeds for the event benefit the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation. Let's see. 49ers. I'm trying to see who voted for it. It doesn't say who voted for it, but so that's kind of cool. This particular award, every team in the NFL awards someone with the Ed Block Award, Courage Award, and Dante Johnson got it. Obviously, Dante Johnson went through immense personal struggle this year, losing his mother to a heart attack only about a month ago. and then coming back and playing in big time spots when the 49ers needed him. Um, Dante Johnson is one of the most loved players in that locker room. Um, I know fans give him a hard time, but Dante Johnson is loved inside that locker room. So it's cool for him to get that. Um, uh, that's weird. It should. I don't know. I apologize. Maybe hit me up on IG. It should work, but if it doesn't, I apologize. Should work. Um, and just to make sure you are trying to get the mission hat. I believe it's called the mission. Anyways, on to the next award. The Perry Yanamine Unity Award was given to running back Raheem Mostert. This award is presented to the 49ers player who exhibits an exceptional commitment to promoting unity within the team and their community. Voted on by the players. Nice. Love that. Community service awards go to Aziz Al-Shaair, Trent Sherfield, Trey Lance, Aaron Banks, and George Kittle won the 49ers NFL Salute to Service Award. And then Eric Armstead was the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. And then the Gary Niver Award is presented annually by the San Francisco chapter of Pro Football Writers of America to 49ers players who, for his cooperation and professional style in helping the Pro Football Writers do their job. The award is named after Pro Football writer Gary Niver. So Trent Williams and Jimmy Garoppolo won that award as presented by the media. Excuse me. And that wraps up the awards given to the players. So sucks that we're reading awards out right now. Oh man, I was really hoping to be talking about a damn Super Bowl at this point. Really did, but understand that the ride has been a lot of fun. I believe someone asked if I'm going to keep posting throughout the year. Yeah, this is day one. I know we're still recapping, what has occurred from this season, and it will be a continual recap. We are going to spend time looking back at this year, and giving it the credit that it's due before we completely switch gears and start looking to the future, which next is the NFL draft. So it is draft season for a lot of teams. Last year, I would have been scouting for a month already. I have not scouted really more than a handful of people. So for me, I now take my season cap off and I put on draft season cap and we start scouting. And just like Money Mark's saying, it's a new season. Off season work starts right now. So no days off for your boy. Content's going to keep coming. The Sourdough Scouts are on the way. So we're going to shift our focus to, like I said, I do want to give this year proper time to kind of fill out, and we can talk about it and all that kind of stuff. But I do want to talk about this year because it was a pretty special year. We'll probably use kind of some of this week, and then we'll kind of shift towards off-season talk, free agent. We're going to be doing a lot of free agent stuff because there are so many free agents. We only have 33 players that are returning under contract from this current team. So there's going to be a lot of positions to fill, all that stuff. Cameron says SDF fan award, DJ and the guy who's been here since day one. Can't remember his name. Brain fart. There's a couple guys been here since day one. But I do want to do so that's gonna be a segment that is gonna be coming. Um, I do wanna do, SDS awards. Like, we can do SDS. I wanna do SDS awards for who I JC says I'm a day 2 guy. I do wanna give out awards. I'm gonna do my own offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, most improved. I wanna do my own awards. So, um, we'll have that segment coming, where I want to do like who just go through the players that I think are worthy, and we'll create awards and maybe have some, chat awards too. I think chat awards still work. Daily videos for the most part. I still think me showing up live, especially if you guys want to vibe with me and do lives, will be coming. Those ones are definitely going to be a lot more interactive, a lot more questions driven from you guys, and a lot more fan interaction. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to be building on the back end to keep developing the platform and making it better for you guys and have more access and things like that. So I'll be working behind the scenes on a lot of other back end development, but I still anticipate I'll be on here doing lives until I'll probably be on here doing lives. Let's keep it honest. I'll probably be on here doing lives uh for a long time. So lives are going to be here. Senior Bowls this week, so we'll have Senior Bowl coverage coming up. We'll be scouting the Senior Bowl, doing all that kind of stuff. Let's go. My guy got his hat today. We see you. We see you. SDS next season is our year to get our sixth. And guess what? Next season starts now. It is next season. The season is upon us. And so, although we, like I said, still digesting, still digesting what's going on, and we're going to take some time to digest this year. We're not just like, okay, we're done. Don't worry about it. Like, cool season. Now we're on to we're gonna take our time to process the year, give people the credit where it's due, and we'll put an end. We'll put an end to the 20. We'll put the 2021 season to bed properly, and then we will start to focus on what's coming next. CL says, what's SDS? SDS is only the greatest group in all of YouTube. The Sourdough Squad, SDS, stands for Sourdough Squad. It's a group that we've developed here on YouTube. It all started because I jokingly call Sourdough Sam my dad, because if you look at Sourdough Sam and then you look at me, you're like, you guys look related. We have the same beard. It's the same color. And so Sourdough Sam, I'm Sourdough Brad. And then from that, we created the Sourdough Squad. Shout out Josh. I think Josh was the first one to shout out the Sourdough Squad, and then Sourdough Squad turned into SDS. Then SDS turned into Bread Gang. The bread emojis, the baguette emojis, and then we developed we developed a group of people who enjoy this team. There's a specific quality to the SDS. There's a specific, like, I would say the SDS is very smart group. Um, they like context. They like understanding things. They're not prisoners to the moment or emotion. They're able to quantify things. They want to understand more. It's a very smart group. It really is. And I'm blessed that you guys like to spend time hanging out with me, talk about the 49ers. But, the Sourdough Squad, vibes. Vibes only. Um, yep, the SDS hats are going to be in the in the works. Um, all that good stuff. And that all started this year. So we're still new. Jay Tran says, the origins of the Sourdough Squad. Still new. This is our first year. This is our first year together. And I feel like we have an insanely strong foundation to build into next season. So next season, bro, Bread Gang's taking over. You guys already know. He said bread bowl hats. You guys already know. The Sourdough Squad's taking over, especially next year. Um, I've predicted that, year 2 for your boy is going to be the year of the Sourdough Squad. I really believe it. I feel like with the platforms we're building, the people that we have in our community, um, pretty soon, man, pretty soon, everyone's gonna know who the Sourdough Squad is. They're gonna be like, everyone's gonna be like, "What's SDS mean? Why is there bread emojis everywhere? Why is everyone shouting bread gang all the time?" It's gonna happen. I see it in the future. It's gonna happen. But man, as you guys know, I could talk football with you guys all day. I could keep going, but you know what? We're gonna have a lot to talk about this week. We're gonna have a lot to talk about this week, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about the week after that. So your boy ain't going anywhere. Your boy ain't growing. Your boy ain't going anywhere. So we'll be back with lives. Clearly, with the slowdown, I'll be able to focus on a little bit more. Be able to develop the content a little bit more. Um, so this is baseline right now. This is like bottom floor stuff. Get your Sourdough Squad stonks now before they're too expensive. I'm just saying. You've seen the Bitcoin and all that crap. You got to get in early. You get in early, stonks go to the moon. So we got plenty of content coming. The off season, like I said, it's not a break. I might, take some time off now every once in a while. Maybe adjust the live schedules to maybe like 3 lives a week versus 5. There's going to be some developments coming, but I will not go anywhere, and we will still be here to talk football always and often. SDS merch is I got a graphic designer on the line and should have some SDS merch coming soon. All that good stuff. But I appreciate you guys always. You know that. Appreciate the support. Sourdough Squad is nothing without you guys. So I didn't mean 3 lives a day, 3 lives a week. I do 5 lives a week currently for the most part, not including Sundays. Might just spread it out a little bit differently. But you know the vibes. Like yeast, we rise. So shout out the Bread Gang. Shout out the SDS. We do appreciate you guys so much. Every like, every view, all of it. All helps your boy out. I had a great year. My rookie year. Oh, that's a good one. Better make that squirrel holding a sourdough bread for merch. I think you're onto something there. I think you're onto something there. Um, so hey, my rookie year is over. Just like Trey Lance's rookie year is over. We are now transitioning into year 2. We are officially rookies no more. We've been here, we've done it. Now, on to the next challenge. So I appreciate you guys always rocking with me, always lifting me up, sending me good vibes and everything. Really do appreciate it. Uh, I'll probably be back tomorrow. Keep an eye out for a live tomorrow. I anticipate my live schedule this week probably isn't going to change. So I would imagine a live's coming every day this week. Still lots to talk about. Still lots to talk about. We were hoping to be talking about a damn trip to the Super Bowl, but it is what it is. I appreciate all you guys. As always, Sourdough Squad is undefeated.